Yup, exactly. Oh, lights off, man. Cause I wanna go to sleep. I'd take a piss too, cuz.
The murder of Steven Begay sent shockwaves through the Navajo Nation and beyond. A promising young man with a bright future ahead of him, Steven's life was tragically cut short in April 2018 when he was mercilessly stabbed to death by a 17-year-old teenager named Trustin Begay. The brutal and senseless nature of the crime shook the tight-knit community, sparking widespread outrage and calls for justice.
Just because you wear a blue bandana doesn't make you a crip.
I put in some work, you don't know me, cuz.
Don't call me cuz, I'm your dad, man.
As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that there were no easy answers to the questions that had arisen. What motivated Trustin to commit such a heinous act? Could Steven's death have been prevented? And what could be done to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future? In this video, we will explore the details of the Steven Begay murder case. On April 1st, 2018, the Navajo Nation community of Kibeto, Arizona was rocked by the brutal murder of Steven Begay. Steven was a 31-year-old father, husband, and respected member of his community. His death left many in shock and mourning, and his family has been seeking justice ever since. The perpetrator of the crime was a 17-year-old teen named Trustin Begay. Trustin was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, and he eventually pleaded guilty to the charge. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison with the possibility of parole after serving 16 years. The murder of Steven Begay was a tragic and senseless act of violence that has deeply affected his family and community. The motive behind the murder remains unclear, but it is believed that Trustin was under the influence of drugs at the time of the crime. The Begay family has expressed their pain and sorrow over the loss of Steven. In a statement to the court, Steven's wife Lorraine spoke of the devastating impact that the murder has had on their family, but also of their hope for healing and reconciliation. "We are devastated by the loss of Steven. He was a loving husband, father, and friend to many. We will never be able to replace him, but we have faith that justice will be served. We also have compassion for Trustin and his family, and we hope that they will find peace and healing as well." The murder of Steven Begay has highlighted the impact that violence and drug use can have on individuals and communities. The Navajo Nation has struggled with high rates of substance abuse and violence for many years, and the murder of Steven is a tragic reminder of the need for greater resources and support for those struggling with addiction and mental health issues. In the wake of the murder, the Begay family has been working to honor Steven's memory and legacy. They have established a scholarship in his name, which provides support for Navajo students pursuing higher education. They have also been working with community organizers to raise awareness about the impact of drug use and violence, and to promote healing and reconciliation. The murder of Steven Begay has also highlighted the challenges faced by Indigenous communities in seeking justice for violent crimes. The Navajo Nation spans parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, and has its own legal system and courts. However, federal and state authorities also have jurisdiction in the area, leading to complex and often confusing legal processes. Despite these challenges, the Begay family and their community have continued to seek justice and healing in the wake of Steven's murder. They have also been vocal in their calls for greater support and resources for Indigenous communities impacted by violence and addiction. The Steven Begay murder case remains a tragic reminder of the devastating effects of violence on communities. The case also highlighted the complex issues surrounding youth violence, including the need for better communication and cooperation between law enforcement and communities in addressing underlying issues such as mental health and conflict resolution. The fact that Trustin Begay, who had a prior conflict with Steven, was not taken into custody despite allegedly threatening him with a knife months before the murder, raised questions about the effectiveness of the justice system in addressing potential threats. The case underscored the need for stronger laws and policies that prioritize the safety of individuals and communities. Ultimately, Trustin's guilty plea to second-degree murder and 25-year sentence may provide some closure for Steven's family and the Navajo Nation. However, The lasting impact of this tragedy on the community and the need for continued efforts to address the root causes of youth violence cannot be overstated.